Hi. Oh, you want to see what I've been working on for the last 2 months? Sure. Well, let's take a look. So, yeah, I guess I'll just walk through my projects that I did in the development of my final, which was not really like a designated final project, but more of like trying to understand and apply the use of Blender tools. I wrote it out a lot better. I think, okay, it says, um, familiarizing myself with tools that can be used for animation, storyboarding, and camera work that can be practically applied towards the development of a project. I did this very simple test with a trackpad while I was waiting for a class to start, and yeah, that was my first test. So that brings me to test 1, my failed animatic. Since this was my first try, and also what I considered not a successful one, just because everything felt very clunky and awkward in the final. Basically, I ended up modeling the set, and I was pretty upset about that because the whole point is I wanted to use this like really pretty like temple set that I found for free on Sketchfab, and I based the entire project sequence off of it and just had the idea to have this person sneaking up on another person. And for whatever reason, I just kept orbiting into walls and getting stuck in walls, and I got very familiar with key map during this time and these freaking settings.
But I think at the end of the day, it was because the model was just too large and was just messing up like world to orbit settings. I don't even know what I'm saying right now, but it's probably something like that. So
yeah, anyway, these are all of the cameras that I had, which is ridiculous because I didn't know at this point that there's this thing like scenes where you can just basically make a new scene and then make scenes like that, like typically like how you should be able to, but I didn't know. So yeah, everything was just passed on from camera to camera, which I used by binding the markers of the cameras to markers. So if you see this like abomination down there, that's what that was. And then also at this point, I feel like I was very uncomfortable with the grease pencil. I really didn't like the fact that I couldn't really assign keyboard shortcuts to the tools. Like there's this one function that B does, so I could never assign B to brush, and I think that one little thing was like making a lot of problems. And this is around when I actually started changing it up a bit and starting to use Blender for just actual animation. So I discovered the 2D window. I would create an object and an outline to the object to make a wave, and then I animated using Blender just traditionally over that. So it was just an interesting thing to test out. Here the fork space was a lot more centered toward actual animating, and so it felt a lot more intuitive, and this is where I actually started to get a hang of the grease pencil and just getting comfortable with doing things still a little more manually, but in a way that was actually working better. So after this, I wanted to go back to the drawing board again and just test out doing a more fleshed out storyboard. I realized I needed to aim for something manageable within the confines of the semester's remainder and also the abilities of a beginner. So I decided to both be studious and uncreative by doing a film study. So I just looked up best action scenes on IMDb and then chose the scene from the movie called The Revenant where Leonardo DiCaprio gets mauled by a bear. The entire scene was a one camera follow within a forest, which I thought would make for a pretty interesting limited setup. So this is just me modeling the scene, my least favorite part. I do like sculpting in Blender a lot, so yeah, I was using the sculpting tool a lot just to get the ground right. But I didn't need anything fancy. It was kind of just to get an idea of the environment, and that was it. Yeah, and then I just started working. At this point I was really familiar with how to do everything, so that was the one plus of all my previous errors and trials, was that I didn't have to really reference the tutorials anymore, and I could just skip all the steps that I thought were unnecessary and just work in a way that worked the best for what I wanted for this scene. So what I did was, for the follow, I created this rig out of a circle, and then I parented the grease pencil object to it, and then I parented the camera to the grease pencil so that it would basically just track any movements I made with the circle, and then within that circle I could move the camera in and out if I wanted. And then for the bear, I basically hid a sphere underneath the whole set, and then when I needed it, I just keyframed it up really fast, and then after that I parented a grease pencil to it and then drew the frames over the grease pencil. And then I used scenes to test out different shots. So I would basically make a copy of the scene and then just change the camera angles in the other scenes or completely redraw it based off what I needed. And then I would go to the video sequencer and then add in each sequence. And it's nice because the sequencer, it will update after you add any changes. So it was just a good way to preview out everything. I just felt like I was originally just going to do a study of the movie and follow it closely to how it was portrayed. But the shot actually just reaches a point where the audience is just literally watching the bear's butt as it's pummeling this guy. So I think that works in the sense that we're in the woods and this is trying to make it feel like we're watching a very point-blank realistic scene, but I think it just made me wonder hey, I wonder what it would look like from a different shot. And the nice thing about the whole Blender setup was it was really doable to just add different cameras and look at things from another angle, or just duplicate the scene, rearrange the setup to test out a different look. So even though I followed the established film shot, I made sure to test out different angles and do other shots as well for the sake of trying things out.